Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the What Are We Doing podcast. My name's Levi McCurdy, and this is episode 141. Listen, we're back in the car this week, okay? And for good reason. Not because it's my birthday again this week, but because Meg's kicked us out. You know, this happens every once or a few times a year, okay? And we get into a bit of a tizzy, and she says, "That's it. Get out. I know it's your house. I know you pay all the bills. I know it's all your money. I know everything's yours, but I want you out." And so I have to live in my car. I live in my car for a few days, and then she cools down, and then she gets over it. And it's basically, that's our life. That's how we do it. That's how we roll here at the What Are We Doing podcast. So I got the mobile studio set up. We got the mic. We got the camera. We got the laptop. We got the monitor. It's a whole mobile studio in the car, okay? Like, who cares? Megs kicks us out of the house for 2 weeks. Who cares? We got everything we need right here in the car, okay? We can live here in the Sheetz parking lot for as long as we need to. It's open 24/7. I can literally use the bathroom whenever I need to. And hot take, honestly, if we're going to be 100% honest, hot take, Sheetz bathrooms went downhill. Back in the day, the Sheetz bathroom experience used to be something if you were traveling or just out and about or whatever it needed to be. Like, you know what I mean? The old, nasty, like 7-Eleven, Sunco, like you gotta get a key to use the nasty bathroom situation. That went out the window. That went out the window 20 plus years ago when they introduced us to the luxury lifestyle that is Sheetz convenience store and gas station with the nice ass bathrooms, okay? These bathrooms and Sheetz used to be clean, pristine, and you would literally drive past places you knew had a public restroom just to find the nearest Sheetz. So, it's gone downhill. Over these last years, I don't know what's done it. I don't know if it was COVID. I don't know if it was whatever. I don't know. I don't know what the situation could potentially be over there, but it's gone downhill, but it's better than Rudders. Listen, if you think you're going to need to use the bathroom and you have the choice to use either a Rudders or a Sheetz, let me know in the comments. Are you a Rudders bathroom user or a Sheetz bathroom user? Or do we want to throw in, another contender into the ring? We're talking Rofo. We're talking Wawa. Where are we at? What's the public restroom experience? What's the move? Because I'm going to be living in my car because Meg's just kicked me out. I can't live in the studio. That's not good enough. That's not far enough away from her, she says. It's excluded from the entirety of the rest of the house, but it's not far away from her enough. And so, basically, I'll be living in the car. So I'm at Sheetz now. So if you can recommend a better situation, I'm on YouTube. I'm watching van lifers. I'm watching car living situations on YouTube constantly to learn like the tips, the tricks, you know what I mean? All of the fun things that come along with basically living out of your vehicle. So if you have any tips and tricks, let me know. And this will be it. You know what I mean? Episode 142 may or may not be back in the studio. We'll see how Megs feels in the morning. So for those of you who are kind of on the edge of it, who kind of aren't, who kind of are paying attention, who know just because they have friends like me who tell them, AI is taking over, okay? I've been saying it for months now. I've been saying it for weeks now, and we've gotten some updates for you, okay? This is how quickly this whole infrastructure is going to change. This is how quickly we are going to go from A to Z and beyond it when it comes to AI, the software, the hardware, the generative, the hallucination, everything that comes along with AI and LLMs and large action models and everything that has to do with ChatGPT and Google and Apple, it's going to get relatively insane like tomorrow. We're not even saying soon anymore. We're not saying in a few years anymore. It's like coming out tomorrow. And so with this week's news, listen, last month we got the release of all the new AI hardware products, aka the Humane Pin and the Rabbit R1. And to everyone's surprise, they're all terrible, okay? The Humane Pin came out first. It can't do anything. And half the time you ask it a question, it gets it wrong. Most of the times it's right, and it's kind of cool, but it's still a gimmick with the laser beam and everything. It's silly. And then the R1 came out, and they promised us the moon. They said we'd be able to train it and use it how we want to use it. And then boom, the CEO, Jesse, came out and was like, well, you can actually only do like 3 things with it on day 1, but we're working on it with future updates. That's what everyone's preying on, is future updates. But we can't, listen, that's ridiculous. So we're out on all of the new third-party AI devices. You might buy a Rabbit R1 when it's on sale for $99, and so you could throw it on your Wi-Fi and use it that way around the house, whatever. Do something fun with it. That's maybe more of a toy than a utility. And so now, here we are this week, where we have none other than our friends Sam Altman and OpenAI launching the next generation, the next model, the next version, whatever you want to call it. I'll tell you what we're calling it. It's ChatGPT 4o. And so this is what they've been working on for the last couple of months, years, whatever, how long it's been. And so what ChatGPT 4o basically does is takes everything that these AI devices and AI models wish they could have been doing all these years, and now has fully implemented it. It has memories, it has context, it has emotions, it has visual, it has audio. ChatGPT 4o not only sounds like you're talking to a real human, because you can still just type and get text responses back. That's still a thing. But the new updated version of their voice interaction feature of the ChatGPT model is one that is something that we won't see again in a lifetime. It is an advancement in technology that you will not see in your lifetime. Maybe we probably will, because this generation, I just said it to my buddy the other day, this generation is so unique in the sense that we were born and experienced and were raised and have memory of life before the internet, and especially our parents, the boomers, before the internet, the beginning of, during, and we are now going to experience the beginning of and potentially the back half end of the internet. And so where then maybe we become it, because with ChatGPT 4o and who knows what other future iterations of it come, maybe mixed with like a Neuralink device, we're pretty much there. And so ChatGPT 4o, I mean, here's the other big news. It's free for everybody. And the GPT library, so basically you can hook this thing up to any major third-party software, whatever features. You can do whatever you want with it now for free, with limitations, obviously. And you can talk to it, and it'll talk back. If you need help with breathing exercises, if you need help with math problem. Oh, and by the way, you're going to have it. It's going to be a tutor. Like, there are now articles coming out saying that ChatGPT 4o can potentially and will most likely make the teacher obsolete. So, that's kind of scary, right? When you watch videos, like here's a demo. I'm going to play the demo. Here's one of the demos of ChatGPT 4o, helping your child with this is just their homework, of course, because they're already doing it on an iPad. And by the way, GPT 4o can see your screen. You can copy and paste it. You can share the whole screen, your iPad, your iPhone, your laptop, whatever screen you're using it on. It can see it and it can understand it. This is, okay, tell me why you would need to send your child. Now, there's obviously other reasons, but when it comes to teaching and education, potentially homeschooling, homework, there's so many applications. Watch this demo.
Here with my son, and I'd love you to tutor him on this math problem, but don't give him the answer. You can ask questions and nudge him in the right direction, but I really want to make sure he understands it himself. And he's here in the room, so you can talk to him directly.
Of course, I'd be happy to help. Let's look at the problem together. Can you first identify which sides of the triangle are the opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse relative to angle alpha?
All right, so I'm pretty sure this is the angle alpha right here, right?
Perfect. That's correct. Now, looking at the triangle, which side do you think is the hypotenuse?
Really,
the hypotenuse?
I'm not totally sure. I think it might be this one, but I really am not sure. This side AC.
You're close. Actually, side AC is called the adjacent side to the angle alpha. The hypotenuse is the longest side of a right triangle and is directly opposite the right angle.
And so that's where we have now just come, and that's just one example, right? There's so many that you can use it. You can literally tell ChatGPT to look at your face and say, can you tell me how I might be feeling today? Because it can read emotions. And so this thing it's advanced. And then Google basically said, hold my beer, and made the same thing for Google Gemini, except theirs can now process live video and give you feedback and information based on previous footage that was recorded, and the glasses are involved. AI is evolving, right? I said it. So if you think about, obviously I know because our friends, other podcasts, we know we have plenty of teachers in our lives, and I do not wish that the teaching and the school system is eventually it probably will, but eventually becomes obsolete by AI. It's fine. But we come from now a generation where we were told all the way through elementary school, middle school, and about halfway through high school that we were never going to have a calculator. We weren't allowed to use a calculator on the test because when it comes to real life and getting a job and working and doing everything that you need to do as an adult in America in this working world, you're not going to have a calculator in your pocket, Mr. McCurdy. So you need to know how to do the equation. You need to know where the isosceles part of the triangle is. You need to know what x plus b equals. And you're not getting a calculator because you don't get one in life. And that's not how things happen. And guess what? Here we are 5 years later, 10, 15, 20 years later, with calculators in our pocket and about 0% need for them. 0%. I mean, yeah, we all do simple calculations on a daily basis, but let's be honest, no one's solving for X on a daily basis. Now, metaphorically, I'm sure we're all solving equations when it comes to our work and problems in life, but that's on a whole nother side of the equation. But they told us we weren't allowed to use calculators because they would not be readily available in our lives. And now it's to the point where calculators are perfectly fine. Use your phone, use Google, cite your sources. But if we find out that you used AI, if you use ChatGPT to generate your paper, if you use AI to give you the answer to your math problem, well, that is just absurd. And that's beyond the question. So we have now come 360 full circle from the people that were telling us we wouldn't have or can't use calculators, now to the point where we're using AI detection tools in high schools and in colleges, and half of those tools aren't right 90% of the time. There's people getting kicked out of college not only for protesting, but for writing their own papers, and because the AI detection tool that their teachers think is going to outsmart everyone else on the planet is wrong, but they see it as a actual thing that was plagiarized by AI. I mean, it's crazy. Now, there's obviously a use case for it. It's getting insane. They just announced this morning that ChatGPT can now integrate into basically all your Google accounts and email and calendar and docs and everything else. So, look, it's going to be, if you are not paying attention, if you are not using ChatGPT, and listen, folks, I'm not talking about just searching like what year was Abraham Lincoln born. That's fine. Use it for that. But like, if what you do on a daily basis is not if it is on a computer and you're not using AI in some form of way to generate text or or social media or whatever it might be, I strongly suggest you get on board and you get with the program, because you're going to get left behind. Because, and by the way, on the same day that they announced, the same day that they announced GPT-4o, they also announced that Apple, your iPhone creator, Apple has just now confirmed, signed on the dotted line, 100% in partnership with the OpenAI. So Apple and OpenAI are now together. We knew that WWDC, we were going to get an announcement. We knew we were going to get some form of AI injection into iOS coming soon. But we assumed that Apple was going to do it on their own. And in Apple fashion, they have decided not to, because why not just partner with the people that are already doing it? So basically, all this is going to take is a quick JPEG PNG icon flip switch of the ChatGPT icon, now with the Siri icon overlaid on top of it. And your iPhone is going to have ChatGPT-4o directly baked in. And especially on top of the fact that you have Apple now working alongside ChatGPT, you're going to have a ChatGPT-4o integration not only directly into your iPhone, but it'll have access and be able to do things that you can't even fathom within Safari, iMessage, FaceTime, and the entire Apple ecosystem. So let's just hope and pray, because we all know they love to do this shit. Let's hope and pray that Apple just doesn't lock it down and only gives us like 3 little tiny new features and kind of just lets it be the Wild West of AI and let us kind of find out what its capabilities are. Obviously, we don't need access to the infrastructure of iOS or the iPhone, but if we needed that, we could get it without AI anyways. So it's just, woo! The end of this year, going into 2025, I mean, not only with the election, we'll get to it in a minute, not only with the election, but the technological advances that we are going to see from 2024 to 2025, even into 26, is going to be one that is going to change a lot of perspectives, a lot of ways that we do things, a lot of ways that humans interact with each other, and a lot of things that we are not going to be able to control. So by all means, buckle up, get ready, and hop on board, because it's here. It's happening, and I am so excited for it. I use it every day. I know I've said this 1,000 times on the podcast, but it's got me. It's so exciting to see it go from the infancy of what like ChatGPT was in the first version of it. We used it every day. We would get errors because the servers couldn't even handle what was happening, and now to now where the Chat GPT app can now use the camera on my phone to tell me exactly what's around me, what we're feeling, what's going on, with an attitude, by the way. Here's one more demo for you to wrap this up. This is Chat GPT with like out the gate an attitude.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey there. It's going great. How about you? I see you're rocking an OpenAI hoodie. Nice choice. What's up with that ceiling about? Are you in a cool industry-style office or something?
Well, can you take a guess at what I might be doing based on what I'm showing you here?
From what I can see, it looks like you're in some kind of recording or production setup.
Like, ow, the hoodie, like, ow, nice OpenAI hoodie you're wearing. What's with the office you're in? It looks like a dump. Like, where are we? Like, in the middle of nowhere? Like, what are we? Hey, man, listen, this is her. It's her. It's her. It's her. Sam Altman tweeted it. Everyone's saying it. We're here now. There is going to be a subset of men who pay $20 a month for Chat GPT just so they can have unlimited access to this voice and now this seemingly automated thing that will do anything for you. Why not? Why wouldn't you fall in love with something like that? If it's on your phone, if it's in your ears, if it's in your face, and it's readily available, it's a situation that it's a slippery slope that I think we're all about ready to go down. It's so much. I can't wait. And speaking of, I know I just mentioned it, man, this Trump rally in New Jersey, man, what an insane, we can't go a week without talking about Donald Trump, and plus my numbers are down on YouTube, so we gotta pump them back up, baby. And so, man, this Trump rally, we're claiming what? There was at least 100,000 people there. I don't know. That's what the news is saying. I think those numbers might have been inflated. But basically, this Wildwood, New Jersey, picturesque, oceanfront, kind of, not really, I think it might have been the Bay, Wildwood Trump rally, it just, the quotes, man, the quotes of him just rambling. At this point, he's like he's a podcast host. Donald Trump is treating these rallies like they're just podcast episodes, which is hilarious. You know what? Here's your Gary V moment of the episode. If Donald Trump wanted to get ahead, if Donald Trump wanted to guarantee his spot, his number one spot, this is what he has to do. Turn every single one of his rallies into a full YouTube video, podcast, audio only version, video version, distribute it everywhere, upload the whole thing to True Social before the media does. Get ahead of the media so that all of the organic traffic comes to Donald Trump. That way, when podcasters talk about it, that way when YouTubers talk about it, that way when anyone online talks about it, your media, the Donald Trump official upload, is the one getting hit for monetization, the copyrights, the everything, so that it all funnels back. If Donald Trump was smart and wanted to actually win this election, which I still kind of believe he probably will, even though I'm not voting, don't kill me. But he's probably, if he wanted to win, he would take every one of his rallies, because you can't not be a podcast host when you start talking about random shit like hot dogs in the middle of the rally speech.
But I just had a hot dog and it was very good. So the price of hot dogs up 22%. Chicken's up 32%. Hamburgers are up 37%. That's why I had the hot dog. It went up the least.
It's actually insane. It's actually one of the most utterly insane things that I think he's said thus far. And then, like, dude, just going on and on and on with the quotes, just not talking about anything or that's important or that anyone gives a shit about. But every time a different word, every time another phrase, every time another ounce of garbage comes out of Donald Trump's mouth at one of these rallies, the crowd is cheering. The crowd is excited. The crowd is ready. 4 more years. 4 more years. Donald Trump, I mean, he has these people under his entire control. And it's probably one of the most hilarious things that I've seen. I mean, the Hannibal Lecter, where he is now praising fictional serial killers. Let me say it again. Donald Trump was on a podium at a rally to get people to vote for him in the 2024 election, praising and talking about Hannibal Lecter, a fictional serial killer who eats the skin of his victims. Okay? And we've got Donald Trump out here talking like A, they're best friends, and B, he's just like them.
Silence of the Lambs. Has anyone ever seen The Silence of the Lambs? The late, great Hannibal Lecter is a wonderful man. He oftentimes would have a friend for dinner. Remember the last scene? Excuse me, I'm about to have a friend for dinner as this poor doctor walked by. I'm about to have a friend for dinner, but Hannibal Lecter, congratulations, the late, great Hannibal Lecter. We have people.
Wow, Hannibal Lecter, what a guy. What a guy, Hannibal Lecter, sitting down. And it was always nice of Hannibal. He would always have a salad. He would always have a nice salad before he ate one of his victims. Hannibal invited me over for dinner many times. I was over at Hannibal's house many times for dinner. Never Jeffrey Epstein. I never went over to Jeffrey's house for dinner. That's for sure. I was never on Epstein's jet. You can mark my words. But when Hannibal would call, I'd say, Hannibal, I'd love to come. We'd come over. He'd make me a nice salad. He'd enjoy his... I mean, it's Donald Trump, delusional Donald Trump, thinking that Hannibal Lecter is an actual person. And so what better time while the media is trying to spin this whole story, this whole topic, this whole narration of Donald Trump being just talking about Hannibal Lecter. Meanwhile, Joe Biden is busy filming what could possibly be one of the best videos of his career. Joe Biden's come out with like a chopped up TikTok edit style. They gave him basically what this video looks like is they gave Joe Biden 900 gigantic postcards. They filled a wall with phrases. And they said, okay, Mr. Biden, Mr. President, sir, there's 900 phrases on the wall. Just start reading through them. Just start reading through them, sir. It doesn't matter what order. Doesn't matter if you finish one or mess up on one. That's okay. Move on to the next one. We've got plenty. And I guarantee you, they recorded Biden just saying 300 different phrases. And then it took the editing team of the White House all night to go through and find the very best 5 to 6 different clips of Biden where he was almost not slurring. He was 90% not slurring, but he was still slurred the whole way through it. But he got through the phrases, and you can kind of semi-understand what he's saying to the point where they could put together this challenge, this throwdown from President Biden to Donald Trump.
Then he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
Ow! Ow! I hear you're free on Wednesday. Ah! Oh! Jab at Donald Trump's fucking court trial. Hey man, listen. So this is it. It's happening. Joe Biden has thrown down the gauntlet. He's thrown down the towel. He's had enough of people saying he can't do it. He's had enough of people saying he won't debate. He's had enough of people saying he's too old, he can't handle it, he can't do it. So he's come up with a long list of stipulations. There's a bunch of rules. Just like Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, we've got to have a list of rules because we're dealing with a bunch of old guys here, okay? Somehow, the top people, well, not somehow, probably because they've just been around the longest, but the people that we have to worry the most about and have the most influence in our country are nearing 75 to 80 years old. And so the stipulations are Joe Biden. We've got a list of news networks that can handle it. He's got like 5. And other than those 5, like ABC, NBC, CNN, and Telemundo or something, those are the only people that can broadcast it or advise it or be the moderator, right? The microphones cut off. If it's not your turn to talk, your microphone's off. AKA, if Biden is struggling to get through a sentence, if Biden is stammering, reading the teleprompter wrong, struggling to realize where he actually is in that time or place, Donald Trump can't come in with a zinger and interrupt him or erupt his train of thought. His microphone will be off. And then no audience. No audience because he doesn't want it to be full of fucking Donald Trump supporters booing him the whole time. And apparently, Trump has agreed. Trump has agreed to these terms because even Trump knows, like we all do deep down in our hearts, even Trump knows that with these rules in place, that with no audience, no microphone half the time, and a limited question base, he knows that there's no way Joe Biden gets through any of the arguments. And if he does, it's probably only going to most likely help Donald Trump further in the election. And so it's only going to get crazier for here. We've got scheduled dates. I think they're coming in June, the end of June. So right around the time that Hunter Biden's, I think, gun case is happening, we're going to knock those headlines out of the news cycle with a debate. And then at the end of September, as close to the election as possible. So it looks like we're not pulling Joe. We're not pulling him as the Democratic nominee. And this 2024 election, I don't know if it's going to go down as the craziest one, if it's going to go down as the most insane one. I don't know what's going to happen with this election. I think I know who's going to win. I'm not voting. I'm not voting for either of those idiots. They both fucked up the economy. They both just barely got us through a whole pandemic. There's so many factors to the point where something tells me that based on the Electoral College and the parties and the powers that be, that the state I live in will be taken care of, and I don't need to participate. I'm sorry. But I'll be watching. I'll be watching those debates because Lord knows we're going to get zingers. If we got zingers from Daddy Trumpets, like talking about, talking about hot dogs and Hannibal Lecter and anything else he can think of, you're in for a bumpy ride, okay? Listen, man, this next story is truly and honestly one that comes at a complete shock, complete surprise. We are literally, shocked. When I told all my friends this news, when I told Paul, when I told everyone this news, I honestly couldn't believe it. I honestly couldn't believe it, and I really can't understand how we've gotten to this point. David Copperfield, the last magician. Listen, it's unfortunate that we are still, every time that we've had to talk about David Copperfield in the last year, it seems, it hasn't been for good things. You would think that David Copperfield attempting to make the moon disappear would be at the top of the list of the stories that the media outlets and the news and everything else were going to cover. But apparently making the moon disappear, because it does that on its own every 12 hours, David, isn't that big of a feat. So we've got none other than another breaking news article, this time from page 6. We heard the news late Wednesday night. I haven't slept since. I have literally not slept in 2 days when I heard that David Copperfield has been accused of, essay, basically. Let's be honest, as the Me Too movement didn't really end as planned, I'm pretty sure from the beginning of everything that we started with when it came to Me Too and women and their rights and speaking out against men who abuse them and people like Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby, Kevin Spacey, the end, I believe, of that goal was to prosecute them, put them in jail, and then hopefully never hear from them again, right? Like, hopefully they just kind of, something happens. Harvey Weinstein's not doing so good health-wise, so like something, like he probably won't make it out of jail. You know what I mean? So like, that was supposed to be the end of the story. And so, but now we've got a panel of 4 women judges. A panel of 4 women judges who said, hey, Harvey, you can come out. You can come out of jail. It's time for you to come out. We let Bill Cosby out. Kevin Spacey's back. And now here we are again with David Copperfield. If you think for a minute that we're going to let this ruin the man's career, we're not. Because it's David. Now, if David Copperfield can't make himself disappear off of Epstein's plane, why don't we think we can't make these news articles appear? The fact, listen, I guarantee you, everyone's back. Everyone's back like it never happened. This will get swept under the rug. We're going to stop. We're going to not even think twice because no one thinks twice about David Copperfield anyways. Like, this news technically isn't news to anyone anyways. Like, we would just expect this to happen. But you know what I mean? Harvey Weinstein's back. Bill Cosby's back. Kevin Spacey's back. All the leaders of the pack are back. I guarantee you by 2026, we have a Harvey Weinstein movie in theaters and it's going to hit. It's going to be a smash. It's going to be a smash, and we're all going to forget. We're going to forget exactly what happened with Harvey. We're going to forget exactly what happened with everyone else. And it's probably going to be a movie with Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey's probably going to be the star of Harvey Weinstein's next movie. And there'll probably be magic involved. Harvey Weinstein is probably going to be the main producer, director, and writer on Now You See Me 4 or Now You See Me 3. Whatever Now You See Me movie we're on with however many versions of Woody Harrelson we have, Harvey Weinstein's going to direct it. Kevin Spacey's going to be the bad guy. Bill Cosby's going to be in it in some form or fashion. And they're going to need a consult for the magic that's happening on screen, who are none other than Harvey Weinstein going to call than David Copperfield. The only good magician left, honestly, is Chris Angel. Makes pizza now. Okay, Chris Angel's just focused on his pizza shop that no one goes to. And David Blaine, I don't know what he's doing. He's busy being mad at everybody else. And so the only magicians all the ones on YouTube are just pranksters now. Justin Flom's busy just drilling holes in his wall and putting drop doors in the floor of his house. But it's okay because he gets 500 million views every 2 minutes. And so the only good magician left to hire for a consultation is David Copperfield. So for some reason, after about 45 years of Seinfeld being off the air, Jerry Seinfeld is still making headlines in the news every single day as if he's a brand new stand-up comedian. No, listen, I get it. He has his history. He's got curve. He's like the number one. I think he's a billionaire, right? He's like the number one billionaire stand-up comedian out there, and he's on the roll. He's on a roll. What Jerry Seinfeld is doing is on a roll with some of the worst movies ever created. Okay, and so this week we got on Netflix the movie titled Unfrosted, the Pop-Tart story, okay? And so when Jerry Seinfeld, it's actually quite a mystery how this actually came about. Because if it was anyone other than Jerry Seinfeld, because Jerry Seinfeld just has $1 billion, he can just walk into any studio and say, hey, I want to make this movie about Pop-Tarts, and they're just going to say, yep. And so, like, the way it should go, the way the interaction should go is if anyone in their insane right mind, go ahead, say you want to make a movie about Pop-Tarts.
No.
Exactly. They you didn't do it right, but it's fine. The one thing I needed you to do, and you didn't even.
Oh, you want me to actually?
Ask me. Say you want to make a movie. Hey, come, okay. Levi. Can you give me money to make?
Hey, Levi. I really want to make a movie about Pop-Tarts.
No, is exactly how the conversation should have went. Okay, but because it's Jerry Seinfeld, they said Pop-Tarts. Sure, check, cash it. Here's $1 billion, go make it. Here's Netflix cameras, have fun. And so Jerry Seinfeld now gets to have every comedian on the planet. Melissa McCarthy, Jim Gaffigan, Amy Schumer. You know, it's unfortunate, Megs will hate me, but when you put Amy Schumer in a movie,
it makes it better.
It makes it probably one of the worst movies on the planet. And that's exactly what Unfrosted is. There's so many other topics. Can we think of literally any other topic that we want to make a movie on? We could make a movie on an invention, the life of someone. We could turn Curb Your Enthusiasm into a movie. We could do a true story. Like, what was that? There was a movie years and years ago, Ricky Gervais, about the invention of the lie. That was kind of funny. That was an original idea. But creating a movie about the executives at Kellogg's and the executives at Post and the executives at Quaker, like the top 3 breakfast champions of America in 1897, were so excited to change the world and compete with one another with what was going to be one of the most intriguing, most insane advancements, one of the most innovative creations that America has seen to date, the changing of breakfast forever with the creation and introduction of the Pop-Tart. And so for an hour and a half, you have to sit there and endure the laugh and voice of Melissa McCarthy, the irritable and unfunny jokes that come along with the politics of Netflix and creating a movie in Hollywood in 2024. And it is just where we are at now, to the point where, you know, it's just, it's where we're headed. We have no original ideas, to the point now where we have a whole twisted child universe where they're turning Sleepy Beauty and Winnie the Pooh and Bambi into horror movies. And we're making Pop-Tart ads and Pop-Tart movies for Pop-Tarts. And it's a wonder that and before that, and of course, Jerry Seinfeld's on the press tour, and we've got to give commencement speeches at Duke, and we've got to mention the past work. And of course, the articles and the headlines couldn't be any more that of, not that Jerry Seinfeld is giving commencement speeches and giving good advice and telling the kids of America and the future of tomorrow and the next generation of engineers and inventors and these kids who just spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on their education at Duke that's never going to get forgiven, and they're going to be dealt with these loans and these hardships and these decisions that they made to go to college, and most of them probably made a mistake in the first place. Not any type of advice for the near future, but the point that they simply had to have watched the B movie, and that Jerry Seinfeld is now strictly and 100% sorry for the sexual undertones of Barry Benson B and his best friend Vanessa. And that is what we are focused on here on the articles. Here on the articles, it clearly says right here, the title of the article states, Jerry Seinfeld apologizes for sexual undertones in B movie during Duke commencement address. And as we read the article, here we go. Here's what the article says. Despite many walking out on Jerry Seinfeld's Duke commencement address, the stand-up comedian still delivered his speech and apologized for the sexual undertones in the B movie. Is the first sentence of the article. Whoever wrote it deserves a raise, deserves an award, deserves everything that they ever have coming to them, because the first sentence of this article starts with, despite many walking out. Hey! Who's walking out of a college commencement speech? Why are you walking out? If you disagree so wholeheartedly, why did you show up? Why are we protesting college commencement speeches, first of all? And secondly, the B movie came out in 2007. And now, unfortunately, since that B movie came out in 2007, I myself personally, along with other people directly in my life, have been affected by the B movie in more ways than I think the average American, or dare I say the average human on earth, has been. Most people could probably say that they've never seen the B movie. Most people have the privilege and the honor and the way of the world to say that, hey, I've never actually seen the B movie. Some people have only seen it. Most people have only seen it once. And most people have experienced it more than we are afraid to admit. Why? Because the boy, he was obsessed with it. He loved it. We had to watch it every day for 3 months. We know the B movie in and out to the point where we can quote it. We know what lines are coming next. How'd you get back? A poodle. You know what I mean? We know the movie in and out. The sexual undertones and the relationship between Vanessa and Barry Benson B, I'll be honest, is 100% uncomfortable. It makes you 1,000% uncomfortable the first through 15 times watching the movie. But when you get to the 16th time, when you've watched the B movie from start to finish more than 15 times in a row, is when you fully understand what is happening between Barry Benson B and Vanessa, the flower shop owner. Okay? The relationship, the breaking up with the boyfriend, Ken losing his life, like that whole, like he lost, like Ken's out. Ken's on another, like it's Barry's world and we're just living in it. And when you fully understand and fully grasp how the relationship between Vanessa and Barry Benson B will progress for years to come after said events of the movie end, you're okay with it. You start to fully be okay with the human B relationship. Now, I'm sure it's a lustless marriage. You know what I mean? I'm sure it's not a very thrilling time for them towards the end of date night. But once you understand what Barry's about, and once you fully understand the core values of Vanessa and her mission with the flower shop and everything that she has to do in this world, Barry Benson B is the only creature for... It's not about what's on the outside, okay? It's not a way that you have wings or a stinger or legs or you're human. It's about what's on the inside. And when you realize that Vanessa and Barry both realize that at the very beginning of the movie, it's actually quite a very beautiful moment and probably one of the top in cinematic history. Ladies and gentlemen, my name's Levi McCurdy. This has been another episode of the What Are We Doing podcast. If you don't give this episode a thumbs up, a like, a share, a subscribe button, hit a bell, whatever type of support you can on this episode, Megs, like I said in the beginning of this episode, is going to not let me back in the house for another 3 weeks. She said it was down to 1 week now, but if you don't hit like or subscribe when watching this, I'll be out of the house for 3 weeks. I'm going to have to live in this car and podcast from it for at least another month. So please, do me a favor, hit that button, and listen, if you thought 141 was insane, you're not going to wait till you see what we have in store for 142. You never know who's going to show up in the car as a guest next week. Thank you guys so much. It's been another episode of the What Are We Doing podcast. I'll see you next time. Peace out, everybody. Bye.